Okay, Assalamualaikum to everyone who's already in the chat room. We'll be starting very soon. All right. It is already 9:05. We might just make a start, and inshallah, we will introduce our guest speaker for the Creative Leadership series today. So, Assalamualaikum to anyone who doesn't know me yet. I'm Suraya, and I will be the moderator for today. And inshallah, I will introduce our guest speaker for today, who is a very, very established person in the Malaysian community. And hopefully, maybe our Australian community can get to know him better, right? All right. So, our guest for today is Zulhimi Bachok. And a bit about him is that he works very closely with the Pemuda GEMA Malaysia, which is a very big youth organization in Malaysia. And I know that they do very great things in Malaysia. It's very amazing to see what they do. And so his position with Pemuda GEMA Malaysia is the number one deputy president. Yeah. And today, he will explore with us the idea of reaching out to the community and also how easy it actually is, and I guess the challenges that come with it and how we can overcome that as youth in today's society. Specifically, he will talk about a project that he has done recently during Ramadan, which was only a few months ago, I believe. And so the project that he will be talking about today in more detail is the My Save Food at Ramadan by Pemuda GEMA. And it's a very interesting project, and I am very amazed by the data that they've gathered and actually how much reach that the program has. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Brother Zulhimi to start his presentation for today.
Sure. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, moderator, for inviting me. So first of all, I would like to thank all those organizers, the one that really contributed a lot to make this event possible. So first of all, I can introduce myself first. Inshallah, my name is Muhammad Zulhimi bin Bachok. I need to click this slide first. Okay. So the topic that been given to me is more likely close to my heart as well. Reaching out to the community is not as hard as you think. I tried my best to give my experience and my sharing based on whatever I have been done previously. Inshallah, more or less, I hope you guys can really appreciate it and maybe can participate as well in my session, inshallah. Okay, obviously I'm from Pemuda GEMA, so previous session of webinar jam, I think you guys know few of my colleagues as well, Mira, Nasim, Amma, and so on. So today is my session for me, Muhammad Zulhimi bin Bachok. So I've been working full time for a company dedicated for United Kingdom, diri to be specific. And I work as a client relationship associate under DDGI Limited. It's actually a Kuala Lumpur representative office in Malaysia. So in Pemuda GEMA or Pertubuhan Pemuda GEMA Malaysia, I've been like president number 1 right now, 2019 until 2021. So my tagline for my since I was young, I think better start than never. So I always wanted to be a positive guy, to start everything in a good mood and so on. So this is a little bit to brief a bit on myself. So this is my family. I have Miss Rosianti, my wife, and also I have three kids, two boy and one girls, Yusuf, Haja, and also Ayuh. So basically, I can say I have beautiful kids and always make me reflect back when I was young. So my wife always used to say that my face is actually like my younger kid, the Yusuf, Ayub, the number number 3. So inshallah, this photo is actually wanted to giving you guys on the basic question as well to you guys to answer. So what makes a good life? So maybe in the chat room, you guys can really participate together with me and share with me what makes a good life for you guys. So this particular question obviously will relate towards my presentation until the end, inshallah. So maybe anyone can share what makes a good life for you guys. And obviously, this should be a good point for me to start. So I wanted to have maybe 1 or 2 points so that I can start. Okay? Anyone can use the chat box to participate as well. What makes a good life? I think obviously you guys can hear me, right? So good life in the sense of to have a family, to having a good day for you guys every single day. Once you wake up in the morning, then you wanted to have a good life for the whole day, right? So what makes a good life? A factor on that. So maybe I can give some hint to ensure you guys keep your life healthy and happy as we towards the end of the day. So I just want to ask again, instead of this question, maybe I make it more simpler. If you were going to invest right now for yourself in the future, what should you put your energy and time for? So this should be the same or similar answer for that particular question as well. Okay, maybe I can proceed with my points. There's a recent survey being done asking what are their most important life goals. So I proceed to my next slide. Based on the survey that been shared just now, asking what are the best important life goals based on of you guys. So based on this particular survey, 80% of people answer the question is actually said that their major life percentage was to get rich. So this is based on the survey. And out of that particular people who are answering the survey as well, 50% was to become famous. So this is most of people's majority answering the question related to this. They wanted to get rich, and also the second one, to become famous. Okay. So I wanted to share for you guys to understand more on what, based on the topic being given to me. This is actually a lesson from the longest study on happiness by Robert Waldinger. So Robert is actually a fourth director of the study, and this particular study had been done throughout the 75 years. So based on my reading previously, I think this is the most longest study been done, and obviously it already passing a lot of people, a generation of people as well. So Mr. Robert is actually a fourth director of the study, and I got this particular video from TED Talk, and I believe you guys can find as well. But I wanted to share for this particular session on this study on happiness. Okay, this particular study have been done for 724 men, and for based on 2016 data, about 60 out of originally 724 men still alive, and since 1938 the survey been done, they track into two groups of men. So I show you guys the first group, student of Harvard College, and the second group is boys from Boston, especially from poorest neighborhood of Boston. So for the first group, that particular group, to be specific, they are finishing their studies right after World War II, and all of the particular group that been studied is joining the war after that. So most of them are into that particular environment. So for the second group, boys from Boston, I can share further detail inshallah. So based on that particular survey research, they actually not really going to give those people only related to the question and so on. So they got a lot of information on from both of the group. So obviously you guys can check into my slide. They get the medical records. They interview the both group as well, check their blood, talk to their children, scan their brain, and also videotape them. So this particular input that they get is actually to really understand how to ensure this particular group can giving output of uh, their life, whether they're happy or not. So based on the research being done as well, the first particular group is from Harvard, right? So they are very educated and so on. So the second group, we can know they are more in community, social involvement, more likely into their environment. So sometimes when the research staff been asking for question to both of the group, the second group of Boston always keep asking, why you guys keep asking us a question, because we don't have a good life. So instead of Harvard student, they didn't ask that particular question. So you guys can understand me, right? So that the second group are more curious why you guys really wanted to know further on our life details. So based on that particular research, lesson learned is that good relationship keep us happier and healthier, period. So what is actually been given to this particular lesson learned is actually is a point for me to start the session to be more accurate. So because this particular research is actually good for you guys to understand, even you having any environment, whether good or bad, is actually giving a good fact that is actually people nowadays having a good relationship is more harder for them to keep them keep alive, happier, and then healthier. So I move to the next. So this is actually a bit small research I wanted to share to you guys. So as simple as that. So based on my topic, reaching out to the community, we need to understand whatever topic that we wanted to, to share, or event that we wanted to do for that particular community. So as simple as 1, 2, 3, I can put it in proper writing there. So the first, you guys need to gather information first, get the fact, get a proper demographic, whether this is particularly helping you guys to to further doing your event or not. So this is something, a good platform for you guys to start. So the second one, you need to brainstorm. You need to having a good input based on environment that the fact that information knowledge that you have earlier. So at the last, you need to execute whatever you have. So maybe I can share a bit. The first, based on the research that been shared earlier, the first is actually based on the social connection. So social connection is actually really good for us if we really know and appreciate whatever we have in, particularly in our environment. So this particular input can really show you guys need to have a good relationship between three group of people. The first one is family, the second one is your friends, and the third one is the community itself. So I wanted to highlight on the third particular point, which community. The first and second, family and friends, is supposed to be a natural market that you guys need to really taking care of. Social connection that should be a positive environment. So for the third one, the community, this is more point that I wanted to highlight for today. The second one is more towards on experience, and of course whether people who are living with loneliness, or maybe they are more towards having their life alone. So this should be a toxic or negative point if we wanted to further details. Maybe I can share a bit a mental issue that came into the picture right now is very crucial if we don't really understand what the behind situation that been faced by an individual. So people who are more isolated, they wanted to be not closing with each other. So this make them more or less happy. Okay, so as simple as that. So I just wanted to highlight these 2 points, the social connection and also the experience based on particularly environments. Okay, this is my few of my photos. Maybe you guys can this is more or less my experience towards NGO program that been done in towards within 2015 2019. So particularly I will focus more on specific program for My Safe Food, Malaysia Save the Food. But before that, I wanted to share one of the program that something that can relate to the topic on the reaching out of the community. So this is one of the photos been taken by our volunteers that we help flood issues been done happen in Kelantan. So this is flood rescue in Penang. So I can show a bit photo on this. So maybe you guys can see all the village, the house been full of mud, and we are here become heroes, wanted to help as a volunteers. Okay, so for the main topic for today, I wanted to focus more on Malaysia Save the Food or My Safe Food. This particular project had been done since 2016, and main problem statement that we get from Marudi, our research center related to this particular agriculture related input, we got this particular initiative, My Safe Food, and we wanted to help, and we joining them together based on the data being given to us. 3 times food and drinks been throw it away during Ramadan. So based on the introduction been done by Suraya earlier, we start since 2016 until 2019. Obviously, this year 2020 make a bit lacking for us, because every single year from 2016 we did this program dedicated for 2 weeks for Ramadan Ramadan months. And this particular 2020 we can't proceed because we have problem during the COVID-19. So maybe if you guys can give me a few seconds. Okay, sorry, I came back. So the second slide for this, My Safe Food basically is to save the food, and obviously we can save the future. This is particularly for future benefit. So all the community that support our program should really understand this particular project is very crucial for our future. So these are some of the infographic that I can show to you guys. Our visibility in the program can shown in the blue color, the network, the public reach, and also the media exposure based on our capacity as NGO. So the impact is obviously based on the network. We got about 150 companies, agency, and NGO. So Pemuda GEMA part of it. You can see some of the logo in the presentation. So the public reach, we work together closely with PBT, some government sectors, companies, NGOs, private sector as well, to really educate students program, exhibition, and seminar. This is particularly helping us to reach our niche market, to touch more or less 1 million people since 2016. But obviously for our side, for Pemuda GEMA, we working out for this particular project for Ramadan session for the bazaar, and the media exposure really help us to give the impact for the event as well, because every single year, what been experienced for myself, we have been interviewed about 2 or 3 times from the media coverage for newspaper, television, and so on. So the technology transfer, the red color, more on strategic partners transfer by Marti itself. They who's the one who really make this technology transfer become more impactful. For us in GEMA, we are more focused on the blue circle, media exposure, public reach, and network. So I can share to you guys some of the procedure or program that have been done. So early stage, what have been done from our side, we approach our team, we build up our connection, networking, try to find as much as possible volunteers around the area. So basically from 2016 to 2018, we only have 2 or 3 bazaar only, and up to 2018 and 19, we are increasing our reach into 16 bazaar altogether in the whole peninsula of Malaysia. So out of 16, I'm not mistaken, we covered around 6 to 7 states around total in Malaysia. So this particular photo is basically the very early stage of giving out the brochure, some info or input to be given to the seller of the bazaar so that they understand every single food that they produce on not being sell after the bazaar Ramadan session finish. They need to help us to give to the needy. So we become the middleman to collect all the foods, drinks that not finished, and we give to the community. So by approaching students, local communities, public sectors, NGOs, volunteers, we are giving an opportunity for needy to have their foods, for particularly more or less to help them to cover their supper or during after Tarawih, Salat Tarawih. So this is particularly our approach based on this particular project. So maybe I can share to you guys some example. I went to the every single seller based on our team introduction earlier. We give an introduction to all of the volunteers to help the seller to understand what the initiative been done by us, and particularly maybe you guys can check on the left side. We need to be proactive. We need to be role model for all the volunteers because we need to, because based on the data and input that we get, we need to cover all the lost food need to be reduced based on data collection later on. So what have been done early of the Ramadan, we need to give the information to all the sellers, give them data, give them input, particularly to help them to finish off whatever food and drinks that they uh, not cannot sell on that particular day. So we collect and we make some weight so that we know how many kilos that balance. So after the data being collected, then we transfer or give out to all the needy based on the database that we have from the local council. The second point is actually we need to I will share later on further on this particular Chinese word of listen, the character of word in Chinese. Maybe I can share after this slide. So more or less, it's actually people who are understanding whatever you have in this particular project need to have some understanding that you as a event organizer, you need to act how you wanted to act to that particular clients or customers that you need to entertain. So maybe I can share further after this. The last but not least, you need to enjoy your life, be realistic with the particular project that you've done. If obviously since 2016 2018 we don't want to grow our numbers of bazaar because we are still developing our SOP. We wanted to have more connection and so on. So I can say 2019 we are more established. We have a lot of guidelines properly, SOP, photos and so on. So this make us more easy to complete the project properly for this particular 2019 last year. What I mean, 2020 we didn't do more because based on the COVID-19 issue. So I wanted to further details on the image of Chinese character for listen. So maybe you guys can see the color based on the Chinese character for this particular word of listen. The green color is complete. So we as a people, we as the organizer wanted people to listen on whatever procedure that we wanted to share to them, right? So we need to have a complete info. So eyes, we need to have eye contact with them. Then one, we need to focus them as one. Obviously, even though the seller, the people who are needy, we give the food, we need to really understand whatever they wanted to share to us. So this is something important skill for us to have to ensure we have this particular input to listen to others. So the yellow color is basically about heart. You need to give your uh, heart. You need to have your clean heart, friendly heart to help the others. And yes, to the blue color is yes, you need to listen whatever they share to you, input to give to you. And obviously king is not actually to become a king. You need to to particularly consolidate, understand all the input that be given based on this character, so that you guys can become a king for your project. So you yourself will be satisfied as a king. That should be understand. You guys need to understand this on that. So not to forget to appreciate or giving some appreciation. Maybe in my perspective, we need to take photo and share into the group, WhatsApp group and so on, so that all the volunteers or the sukarelawan that follow us really appreciate whatever they give their energy, their time. So we support them based on this. So some of the years, if I'm not mistaken, 2017 and 18, we also giving out the some appreciation dinner as well to the volunteers. Okay, this is a very, I can say, a very insightful photo for me, because this photo been taken by newspaper of the Star. So they took this particular photo basically to put in the newspaper for the next day. They wanted us to to give the food to the needy based on the background of KLCC, even though the KLCC was big enough, very shining and so on. So still a lot of people need to be helped in the KL, in the Kuala Lumpur state to be specific. So okay, I'm moving to the next, the input of support. So this is my first kids, Yusuf. So obviously we need to have a family support to having effort to do such project, any project, even though you involved with your full-timer job or even an NGO as well. You need to have family support. So this I can maybe summarize few of the projects that have been done as well in Green Heroes. One of the project that I can highlight that here, we approach the community based on our excitement. We really excited to do this. So that's why when we wanted to show the friendly to the community, you need to show whatever experience that you have. So so this is Green Heroes. Maybe I the next particularly project that been done during COVID-19 issue. We didn't really go for community as much in previous project, but obviously facial heroes is more towards helping frontliners to have their face shield. But obviously to be more accurate, we approach by using our networking to ensure we provide a proper face shield to the frontliners, to have a demand and supply as well. So more or less, we actually become a manufacturing company to provide such face shield to frontliners, and this is a good experience for us as well. Okay, I wanted to maybe to bring you guys more towards into the line of this particular title that been given to me, reaching out to the community. So I wanted to maybe end few more slides by having a quote by Mark Twain. There is not time, so brief is life, for bickering, apologies, heart burnings, callings to account. There is only time for loving, and but an instant, so to speak, for that. The good life is filled with good relationships. So this is some of our colleagues in Pemuda GEMA. I wanted to really share this particular moment to all of the supports that I got based on my capacity or responsibility in NGO Pemuda GEMA. And last but not least, thank you to my family. So I think I would like to have this last photo to be my last slide for today. So maybe can open the floor for any question.
Yes, thank you so much. That's very insightful, and your kids look so cute. Yeah, we actually have like quite a few questions here. I'll start. I'll start it off. With your specific project of My Safe Food, right? Did you have any concerns about litigation, like if there were food poisoning, or like who would be held liable within your community?
Okay, I think that one of the factor that we are really concerned at the early stage of doing My Safe Food, but obviously our intention more towards to providing the food to the needy. So based on that particular point of food poisoning, we are more having disclaimer to that particular food or drinks, so that we put a sticker there. You need to eat around 2 or 3 hours after the food been delivered. So that should be a good disclaimer for us to ensure there is no such issue can attack us after that.
I see. Okay. Yeah, that's quite interesting because like within the Australian community as well, it's hard to do a program that's based around food because it's hard to get proper like paperwork to get the program to go on. Yeah. And there's another question. What would be your suggestion for appreciation to volunteers within the millennial generation? Like I guess the younger generations that are a bit more in a way they have different personalities. So how do you, I guess, appreciate the younger volunteers?
Okay, based on our experience, obviously, younger generation we face right now is actually Gen Y, Gen Z, and also some uh, uh, Gen Y and Gen Z, obviously. So we need to really think of something that very unique, and particularly to give something physical or normal is actually not really being appreciated by them currently. So we are more towards doing something unique. For example, we giving e-cert rather than a physical certificate. We give e-cert. We email to them. And other than that, we are more focused on our one of our value on green heroes. We support to help the environment. We give out some, for example, there is some event that we provide them a small tree so that they are really appreciate on the nature as well. So maybe that I can share a few.
Yeah. That's really cute. There's another question. We have, how do you get people to volunteer if they don't want to be associated with any particular organization? Mm.
Okay, I think that also should be one of the very close to my mind. I've been become leaders for Pemuda GEMA KL since 2015. I understand these issues very closely. People nowadays are not really wanted to have associated with any bodies, NGOs, parties and so on. So what have been done in Pemuda GEMA, we provide a platform for them to become our close friends, or maybe we can call it as Rakan GEMA. So we provide them a platform for them to join without them to become our members. So they simply can register, and we collect their database. They only associated us as a members. As volunteers only, not members. But based on that particular groups, we always keep in touch with them. Maybe sometimes can really make some of the individuals approaching us. They wanted to become members. So this is some input that we can share right now, because I understand on the situation of people or individual right now. New generation doesn't want to really associate it with any bodies and so on.
Yeah, it's because I guess commitment and also
Yeah.
yeah. So oh, I like this question. It goes, why do you think people are so afraid to go into the community? Mm.
Why people
Why
feel
do you
afraid?
think people, yeah, why are they so afraid to go into
Okay.
the community? Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can share. I also one of the people who are individual and not really not really comfortable to go to the community directly alone. So you need to find a group, or maybe a teammates, your people's surroundings, your environment to give you some platform. For me myself, I found GEMA as the best platform to reach the community. Instead of I'm doing myself, I understand there is a particular um, people say as NGI, individuals, instead of organization. They say this uh, themselves as a NGI, but I believe they have their own capacity to do that. Rather than me myself, I wanted to have a platform to enjoy reaching out the community, properly planning, having a good discussion with them, follow up with my teammates. If I'm not there, my teammates can help me and so on. So this should help based on my own capacity. So I think for this particular question, I need to you guys individuals need to ask yourself whether you have the capacity to go by yourself alone. You have the capacity to do by teammates, or maybe a groups of people to helping the community. So you need to find it by your own self.
Yeah. Within your organization itself, there's this question, if someone is an introvert, what kind of tasks they do with reaching out to the community? Mm.
Okay, introvert, people's are having a lot of characters, right?
Mm.
So for me myself, I need to really um know my capacity on doing anything. Even though I'm working with people who are having another character of me, so I need to know what best suit to give tasks for them to help me, rather than I'm simply giving and they are not delivering anything. So I think it can make me stress and plus so on. So, but this need you guys to know yourself and having a good some option to give ideas for your teammates to join together. I'm not sure this answer the question. So I'll
It's
try my
hard
best.
to, yeah, it's hard to, I guess, accommodate to so many different types of people. But I guess it comes back to just getting to know your teammates and what they like to do and what you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, people's strengths. There's a few more questions here. So that is, what is your main motivator to continue doing work in the community? Yeah.
Okay, my main motivator, because at the first place, since I was in university, I really interested to help the community based on that particular platform I have in the university, previous in my university. I was involved in entrepreneurship club, so this really more or less having me give me a lot of option, ideas, the environment itself to give me some driven to really do a lot of things after my university life. So if you ask me again, my main factor is actually if you give to others, you get more. Based on Quran, always you understand related to that, right? So my one of my role model is Sheikh Muhtar Abu Khari. Even though he got 1 million, for example, as a profits, he will give 50% to community to help others, and another 50% for himself. So I think this is a good opportunity for us to understand why this particular individual, such a having a good potential of himself, can do that, and very very consistently helping people, rather than me. Obviously, I'm not really having a good income and so on. We need to practice this since we are still young and so on.
Yeah. Uh, So there's this question: have you ever received criticism or faced abusive people when you are dealing with members of the community?
Yeah, obvious. People, you work in community. You came alone, or you came with your team. Sometimes people are, looking you some with negative eyes. People can really and not really understand whatever you want to do. But for me myself, if I can see this particular environment into my own eyes, so I I wanted to give them by giving them by kudwa. You give some act by your action, instead of people judging you, criticizing you, giving you bad comments and so on. You need to give them by your action. For example, if I saw in a particular Bazaar Ramadan, can I can see a lot of people throwing rubbish everywhere. So I need to collect by myself and put in proper garbage and so on. So this is actually my style of doing things. Give a positive action for you by yourself, and people can follow by times. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, that's another question. How do you expand to other areas, especially thinking that you do not have enough human resources? So, like you said before, you wanted to expand your bazaars, but then you wanted to like take a step back as well. So,
Mhm.
yeah, with regards to human resource, like how do you make sure that you know you have enough human resources before you expand?
Okay. I got these particular issues mainly on 2019, since we introduced from 3 bazaar to 16 bazaar, right? So we got a lot of issues to have this particular manpower. Uh, Obviously, GEMA, Pemuda GEMA, we have 11 states all together in Malaysia. We try to, me myself, I try to approach every single state by having their leaders, uh, give this, have a discussion, a one-to-one call, and so on. If still there is no action being taken, so I need to work, still move ahead. I need to find another solution by having universities, locals, uh, and particularly based on our networking, we have Mardi, SW Corp, and so on. So they have their own states council as well. they have their own teammates in other states. So instead of I'm using GEMA to provide the volunteers, I need to find another university students, our own networking to find out reach any volunteers that wanted to help us. So by having that, then I need to train by giving them SOP guideline. So after they read, I need to call them, follow up, and so on. So by having that, we approached 10 states altogether. We managed to get 7 states. So I think that is an achievement for me, having 70%. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. How do you maintain the relationship with the community? Is it like always just calling up and then asking how they're doing, or?
Yeah. Obviously, my number will be the main contact person to be always busy, picking up the phone, WhatsApp and so on. They keep asking and so on. Why today you didn't pick up the phone and so on. So based on the question you asked, I think how I manage this, I have my own discipline on picking up a phone. If I went to solat and so on, I need to silent off. I will not picking up anything. If I'm having meeting and so on, I need to really discipline myself. Put aside my phone. Even though in my family time, I was in the house. I need to ask permissions and so on. If not, the key point is actually discipline your time wisely.
What about with
Prioritize whatever you have.
yeah? What about with making like going out into the community, and do you have like a number of programs that you feel like you need to do so that the community is always engaging with you guys?
Again.
Like to maintain that engagement with the community, how do you do that? Is it mainly like making sure that you do events all the time,
Okay.
or
Okay. For me myself, I'm using my own capacity to understand the community, and also me myself giving a position for maybe for example in Kampung Baru, right? We have a lot of sellers, and also we have main contributor of the food and drinks, and also we used to use one of the shop of one of the sellers. So the sellers, I can call him as a leader of this particular bazaar. So early stage, I didn't recognize him as a leader. I just managed myself because I'm using his shop. I asked him to help and so on. So after a while, I slow talk with this particular shop. They help us a lot. We need to really put this action consistently. So you guys need to help me, and I wanted to asking you become one of our leader in this particular bazaar. Instead of me myself, I'm not a local person in Kampung Baru. I just drop by after my working hours. So I need to find people who are locals that can share me anything. So even though we are doing only 2 weeks, my effort only 2 weeks in particularly Ramadan month. After 2 weeks, this particular shop leader that I've been can tell you earlier, they continue our project until the end, and they keep show us the photos, whatever the needy give good info, good message, feedback, and so on. So they forward to us. So that make me really still engaging with them, even though we are doing only 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so it continues on. That's amazing that it still continues. It's really good. You mentioned before that you were talking about how you used to be in entrepreneurship club and all that. So I came up with a few questions as well. For my safe food specifically, do you have any ideas for innovating? Especially since this year there were a lot of online bazaars instead. And yeah, and also since now we're moving more towards a greener community and stuff. So do you have ideas for innovating your project towards the
Okay.
future?
We actually have a lot of ideas to innovate this particular process to make it more greener. Mainly, we have some ideas to come up with a application or apps. Each of the bazaar, for example, if you know in Malaysia, right, they have some bazaar they having e-wallet right now. So they're not using any cash money; they're using e-wallet. So I think they are more towards there already. But in terms of giving this extra food to the needy, this we need to to communicate. We need to liaise with them to combine the application together instead of e-wallet. The seller also have a platform to giving out some ideas. We have 5 drinks today. We wanted to give. Maybe another person from other side they can. I wanted to pick up this. I wanted to give to my neighbor, for example. So I think that communication are lacking right now because we are become the middleman to to get the info and give out to the needy. I think application to be more greenner. I think apps is more it's more applicable right now. But we are searching to find a developer to help this because to come up with apps, I think it costs you some money as well. So this is our next move lah. What next
Yeah.
for myself?
It's because it's a long-term investment. I hope that you
Yep,
actually
yep.
do get to develop it eventually. Yeah, I guess I think that is all the questions from our chat box today. And would you like to summarize your talk for today?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think reaching out to the community is more close to my heart. Obviously, to give out the earlier research been done by Harvard University, I think this only more to touch you guys to understand the importance of having good relationship, whether with your family, your friends, and your community. And always lacking right now is actually to having a good relationship with community. You can simply ask yourself, you know your neighbor's name in front of you, you know his neighbor's name of your right and your left. This always be a good question for us to really answer by ourselves. Reaching out to the community, you need to be, berpijak di bumi yang nyata, realize whatever you have right now, and particularly your family and friends, you cannot deny as well. This is something you need to always positively continue your good relationship with them as well. So I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So it was a very good talk from brother Zulhimi. And inshallah, from our community itself, we can continue to reach to our community. Yeah. I can see your team in the background. Hi.
Yeah, we're having
Yeah.
a physical meeting today.
Oh my god, yeah, that's great. Good luck with your further
Okay.
project, inshallah, and just luck too with Ikram Ozi, inshallah. Okay, thank you very
Thank you, sir.
much. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.
Salam.